Our world is becoming more strange by the day, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got a number of stories to get into in this video. We have, of course, something I talked about on my other channel, which I'm going to get into briefly a little bit later. It has to do with power, of course, outages. Something pretty surprising I definitely want to hear about regarding that. We have something going on in Florida. We'll get into that. It has to do with their real estate is just completely falling apart there. We have what's going on in Chicago. Not looking too well for the DNC. We'll get into that. And actually, we're going to get into a ton of stories in this video. There's so many things we're going to talk about. Of course, what's going on in Florida? Let's start there. Florida hit by worst real estate crisis in decades as desperate condo owners slash prices by up to 40%. It's paradise lost. And actually, I have here a guy from YouTube. His name's John Williams. He's actually right now going through Miami, or recently went through Miami, and shows how there's actually projects, numerous projects that, as he's pointing to, have originally started building and then they just foreclosed on it. They just ran out of money. Nobody wanted it. Everybody backed out of buying. And it's because they have these insane fees now. And the cost of living is just gone through the roof. Here you can see how home prices have gone up and skyrocketed over since 1963, $17,000 to now $468,000, right? Just a little bit higher. And of course, what's interesting about it, as you can see here, this actually shows you in this graph that this is all because of inflation, and it has everything to do with them printing that money back in 2020. Because you can see this ratio, median U.S. new home price versus median household income. So basically your price, the price of a home versus your income. The ratio, the lower it is, the better, obviously, because then you can afford it much easier. Notice where it's at now. It's at its highest level it's ever been, 6.7. So basically, a house costs 7 times more than your income per year. Wow, that's pretty ridiculous, right? Back even in 1971, it was 2.6. So imagine you made $50,000 a year back then. It would have only cost you about $120,000 to buy a house. See what I mean? That's like everywhere. That's like on average. So that's even in expensive places in cities. So that's not like the rural areas, right? So 6.7 is very high. Now, of course, what's going on at the DNC, we got some rather interesting stuff with regards to her plan to save the economy. Check this out. Former economist warns that her agenda could shut down the entire U.S. economy. And actually, I think he's right. Because if you look at what she wants to do, she wants to put price controls on everything. This is not going to solve anything. This is what they did back in the 1970s. This is when they had those miles of long lines into the gas station because no one wanted to sell gas because the price controls. They were trying to keep prices very low, and no one that was in business could afford it. They couldn't sell it to you. So she wants to put grocery price, fixed prices on groceries. Now, it sounds nice. Of course it sounds nice. Oh, yeah, I don't want to spend more on groceries. Of course you don't. No one wants to. But those companies aren't going to sell you anything because they ain't going to make any money. Why would they sell you something for cheaper than they cost to make it? Right? They're not going to do it. But there is a way to lower those prices in the grocery store and do way better than her plan. And almost no one seems to be talking about it. I think our former president mentioned it once or twice. And it's actually the real solution. Put the dollar back on the gold standard, and you'll see the prices come down very low within 2 years. It happened over in another country. We already have proof of it working. It worked over in RUSSIA. They did this 2 years ago. They put their currency back on the gold standard. Now their groceries cost about a third what they cost here. 1/3. Much, much cheaper than here. So they're also considered a rich country now all of a sudden. Why are they a rich country? Because their dollar's back on the gold standard. That's the real solution. All this raising minimum wage, putting price controls, none of this stuff will work. Not one of them will work. It will only make it worse. Prices will only go higher. or people will just not be able to afford or be able to buy anything. In the case of putting price controls, this is out of Newsweek too, by the way. This is out of Newsweek. It's not going to work. It ain't going to work at all. It's just not going to work, period. She can do that, and she'll just make it worse for everybody. It will be even worse than it is currently. At any rate, so we got a ton of stories to cover. We're going to get into a number of things. I mentioned about these power, of course, outages. I talked about it over my other channel. There was a rather curious video I saw from this man here. Now, I can't vouch for what he stands for, or his name's Perry Stone. He's got a ministry. I haven't looked into the dude. I don't know if he's like all good and stuff or whatever you want to call it. I don't do that. Okay. What it is interesting. I've seen his videos before. He does have some good stuff he said. I've seen some interesting stuff he said. I don't know about him though. You see what I mean? But he says he has a number of people that give him information. Kind of like I have people that give me information. He has people that give him information. He said he had a person that scours or looks at the dark, of course, web. And there is one account on there that predicted the IT outage to the exact day that it occurred and told people not to take any flights that day. The same exact guy on the same exact account put out that there will be 3 weeks without, power coming up between now and the end of the year. This is what he put out. So I think since he said that, he predicted the one thing right. He said this. I also had a dream, by the way, about this year. And in my dream, the city was dark. There was no power. So that was at the tail end of the dream. And all the rest of the dream has come true so far. So it's kind of curious. Also, there's other people who have said the exact same thing about 2024. So it makes me wonder if this might happen between now and the end of the year. Something to definitely think about and makes sense. I covered, and actually here's another thing. We have had a number of hacking, of course, attempts on the power grid. Over in 2023, it was much higher than any other year before that, very high. So obviously people are doing things like this now. They're actually, it's become much more of a thing that's happening. So this is something to be concerned about. Also, there was a video I made about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I can't remember when it was, but basically there was the state of Washington, Tacoma. There was 4 power substations that were, of course, hacked at that time. It's like a year and a half ago. I think it was at December 2022 or something like that. And I covered that video. I covered that on video actually numerous times. And I said, maybe this is a test because 30 miles north of there is Canada. Okay, so it's right near Canada. And right north of where Tacoma is, right across into Canada, there was exercises being done by the Chinese in that area. And of course, they're well known for having very good, of course, hacking abilities. And could they have been the ones that did it? You see what I mean? Could that have been a test? I don't know. That's just something I'm thinking. Also, they seem to be very friendly with the Ruslans. And the Ruslans went to Cuba with a submarine not too long ago. You remember that? Maybe gave them some equipment. See what I mean? So this stuff seems to all kind of add up to me. Like there could be something really here. And so that's something to think about. Like I said, we're going to get into a ton of stuff. First of all, I got to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. They have a mega 3-month version now, which has more calories per day. It's $750, $300 off. Link is in the description. The reason why it costs more than the old package is because it actually has more calories per day. It's actually bigger than the last one. And actually what's interesting is it's still at least, I would say bare minimum, half the price it would cost for the same amount of food calorie-wise at Kroger or Walmart. It's still half the price. Because, and of course, this is something that will last 25 years. It's for in case you can't get to the supermarket. But the point is that if you went to Walmart, you would spend $750 easily in a month and a half for one person even. That's where it is right now. That's how ridiculous prices are. At any rate, so they haven't really raised prices at all in the last 5 years. considering the fact there's more calories on this. Link is in the description for that. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, and they have other options too. I think they have 1 month version, other versions you can buy. Link is in the description for that. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, How to Build a Cellar, Do Things Around the House Like They Did in the Old Days, hundreds of pages illustrated. Considering what may be coming up at the end of this year or soon here, you might want to get this book just in case something like that happens, where you have a few weeks without, power. It's wise to have it. Get the printed version. It's $37 plus shipping. Link is in the description. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So we have the DNC just going on right now. And apparently there's a lot of people outside not happy, marching. And of course, the outlets are saying like it's a small group. Why is there like hundreds and hundreds? It looks like there's like 1,000 cops there. If it's a small one, why is there hundreds to 1,000 cops there? If it was small, are you kidding me? And it looks like there's thousands upon thousands of people there marching. They're not exactly happy with who they picked. They weren't given the chance to choose. You remember? They weren't given the chance. At the RNC, that didn't happen. They didn't have all these marching outside, right? Also, another thing, look what they're giving away at the convention. Look at what they're giving away. This is in Chicago. They're giving away free services. Look what kind of services they're giving away. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm trying to click on it. Here we go. That word right there. Does that look? And this one too. Why in the world? What is this? Why would they be giving away those at a convention? That's supposed to be about something completely unrelated. Does that even make any sense? It looks like something more satanic than anything else, obviously. They have this big, huge, what do you call it? Thing showing here. I don't know what you call this thing. They have a mobile, of course, clinic. Inflatable. They have an inflatable, whatever that, of something that has to do with the womb. It has to do with blocking, of course. I don't want to explain it. I think you know what it is. At any rate, you get the idea. So they're pushing all that stuff, talking about all that stuff there. Absolutely ridiculous. Offering services. Hey, you can get one while you're here. You know what I mean? Seriously? So that's what they're focused on. But actually, if you go to Gen Z and ask them what they really want, what do they really want? It's what I've been talking about the entire video. Gen Z, cynical about future, as majority call cost of living the #1 issue. Cost of living. And I have the main answer, a proven answer that's already worked in another country. I think I heard of our former president maybe say it once or twice. He needs to be serious about it. He needs to do it because that's about the only way to solve this. Because otherwise, it's going down the toilet, my friends. This economy's gone. Okay, it is gone. Stock market crash is coming. Maybe I didn't show that picture or chart. This is proof, 100% proof right here that a stock market is crashing, is coming very soon. These gray bars are stock market crashes. This is the 10-year Treasury yield versus the 2-year. Every time this yield curve uninverts and goes up above the black line here, there's a stock market crash. Every time it uninverts and goes back up, stock market crash. See that? Uninverts, goes up, stock market crash. Uninverts, goes up, stock market crash. See that? Every time, even here, a dip down below the black line, went up, stock market crash. You see that? Look where we're at now. Below the line, going up currently, right towards the black line. What do you think's next? Stock market crash. That's the 100% evidence right there. When that happens, everything's going to be gone. I mean, it's going to be really bad. And to understand just how bad inflation is, gold has went up 17% this year already, from January till now. So definitely I would recommend you buying some gold and silver. And silver prices are down, by the way, right now. But historically, silver follows gold, but tends to usually be lower a little bit, but it usually jumps up. And right now it's low. So if you want to really get your money, get more for your value, I'd recommend buying some silver right now. Okay, because gold prices are up, but silver's down. And silver will go up because it sticks with gold. So gold is up. If you missed out on buying gold up to now, I would buy some silver. And there's also some deals on gold too, Go check the link in the description, appmax.com. I got it right here. You got all these deals going on right now. Silver's down low. $31 is cheap. At any rate, you're going to definitely want to get some. Link is in the description. Let's get back to the video. So we have a lot to talk about. I mentioned about these outages. Now, this man predicted this day when this occurred. Okay, August 5th. You remember when that IT outage occurred? He knew about it before it happened and told his friends and people on the web, the dark, of course, version, to not buy any plane tickets that day because he knew they'd all be grounded. Okay. And what's interesting is also, and actually I got the wrong article open, but you get what I'm saying. So he predicted when, and it wasn't this day. It was, no, it wasn't that day. It was before this. It was, what was it, back in July? Yeah. So in July when we had the IT outage, this was actually a different thing here. This is actually the same company. So you had CrowdStrike, right? CrowdStrike with the IT outage, right? This man knew about it beforehand. And who's behind CrowdStrike? Vanguard, BlackRock, right? Guess what? They had another outage after that time, shortly after, during the Japanese stock market crash. The Schwab, Fidelity, and Vanguard financial websites experienced outages. So what do you think is going to happen when our stock market crashes? Same thing, probably. So you see what I mean? See what I'm getting at with all that? So there's that. And what else do we have here? Well, I mean, I could talk about that too. I mean, this guy's dream, Groover here, about the World WAR that he saw back in 1980. There was some weird stuff because one of the things that happens is all the communications go down, which could be a power, of course, outage. I don't know if it's related or not. I'm believing it's not. I'm hoping it's not. So, because I'm not interested in that. I hope you're not interested in that either. I don't think that's going to be happening yet. I think that's in a distant future. That's my theory. I think this is going to be something else. So, at any rate, so there's that. You got all these things going on, my friends. And actually, what else do I got? I got some other stuff. Oh, yeah, here we go. I didn't get into this. I've been kind of jumping around. Okay, so I talked about Gen Z being cynical, wanting basically cost of living to be shrunk or made a lot more affordable. Then we have, of course, Germany. Economic recovery further delayed and inflation may pick up. Now, this, of course, was something that could have been completely avoided. We had that pipeline go in the ocean back, what was that, a couple of years ago? That's what caused all their energy prices to go through the roof because they have zero of their own energy. Zero. And of course, now, on top of that, they quit nuclear power, closing its final 3 plants in Germany, which that was my thematic studies. That was one of the 2 thematic studies for me when I was in college as a mechanical engineer. I focused on power plant technology and design, like car design and stuff like that. So this is absolutely ridiculous. Nuclear power plants today are extremely clean compared to the old days. A lot of people still think of them as being very dirty, probably because of what happened in Japan when it got flooded. But now they apparently have it set up. A lot of these nuclear power plants have them set up to where that can't happen anymore. They have tons of fail safes. I saw some nuclear engineer video talking about this. They got like 20 or 30 fail safes now. Like they got so many ridiculous fail safes that can't even happen anymore. What happened in Japan, what was that, back like 5-10 years ago? That can't even happen anymore. So there's no reason for them to shut these down. It's actually just going to make things more expensive. So, but they're trying to do that. They're trying to stop things like that, make it more difficult, more expensive for you. And you have to ask yourself, why would they do that, right? You also have here, the EU offered a secret deal to, of course, Twitter, claims Musk to limit, of course, what's seen. And he rejected it, of course. That was back last month. Now, this has come out. EU will get rid of course, X if Musk does not implement what they want. Top MEP claims, this is from the European Union. This man happens to be friends with Macron. Macron is out of France. He's the leader of France. And of course, France is the ones that hosted the Olympics, where we saw the opening and closing, of course, ceremony. That was not exactly good. Also, they told their own contestants that you couldn't have, like, for example, the surfer here wasn't allowed to have Christ the Redeemer statue on his surfboard. and they told another skateboard, a lady that was a believer, that was a skateboarder, that she couldn't talk about her faith. That's the kind of people that are running France, that want to, of course, shut down, Twitter. That's the kind of people, my friends. At any rate, you get the idea. So, of course, also you have this, of course, Pox, that thing. Another just in time for the end of this year. Like we couldn't predict that was coming. I think I did numerous times say that they're going to do that. They're going to bring out another or something. We knew it. They got to. They have to. Right? So, of course, Canada came out saying, the GOV there's like, oh no, here it comes, another thing. Oh, you're going to be stuck in your house again. Yeah, it's worse than last time. You better be scared. Yeah, okay, dude. I'm not scared. Anyway, of course, also you have Subway, the restaurant, calls a meeting for franchisees as sales plummet. Again, inflation. All these restaurants can't even hardly stay in business because all the customers are broke. Subway having trouble with earnings. You have, Starbucks calling in some like pro marketer to help them fix their brand. And you got Harley Davidson finally caves in because they're going to lose all their business. They stopped being woke, apparently. 90% of the... This is on a CNN article, who obviously is not, middle, right? CNN is clearly not. 90% of the comments are against woke now. 90% that read CNN. That tells you everyone's against this stuff now. Everybody. All right? This is becoming more, sort of a population thing versus the GOV rather than a, left hand or right hand, right? It's more like sanity versus insanity at this point, right? That's basically what it is. Anyway, that's my video. I'm kind of wondering what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.